when your natural procession of thought is bothered or interrupted. I'm going to say it again. You can only be mentally disturbed when your natural procession of thought is bothered or interrupted. Now, you look in society and they tell you that you're mentally disturbed or that something's wrong with you mentally when you're doing things that are not in line with society, that are not considered to be normal, right? This is when they say you're mentally disturbed, when you're doing things that are abnormal. You know, something's bothering you mentally, something's interrupting your natural or your normal procession of thought. Something's out of order, right? Now, because our people, right, because our people have this idea that how we are living in society, how we are conducting ourselves in society, how we do the same things that everyone else is doing in society is normal. We don't think, our people don't think that they are mentally disturbed. Our people don't think that they're out of order mentally, right? But you got to ask yourself something. To come from a once great people who dominated empires and ruled the world, who were obviously following their own path or their own mental procession of higher intelligence, to get to that level of controlling a society or a government or being the masters of your own destiny, to have that interrupted, to have that disturbed, to have that thrown into a cycle of destruction to where you are now in a new society where you went into slavery, you went into bondage, you went into different philosophies of other men, religion, Islam, Christianity, Judaism. You went under all these submental ways of thinking. That would qualify as a people who have been mentally disturbed, mentally interrupted. Black people are not in their natural state of mind. No black person in America is in their natural state of mind. They're not receiving a natural procession of thoughts the way they're supposed to. Because if you start off, or you were in a world where, you know, you were going up and you were in a ruling class position in a ruling class society, now you're at the bottom. Your thought process, your evolutionary thought process had to be interrupted. It had to be disturbed. You had to mentally be disturbed. Slavery served as the biggest mental disturbance. Acceptance of different philosophies, acceptance of religion. These caused great mental disturbances in black people, so much so that we don't even know, or we think that it's normal to move in a rotation of mindless, submental ways of thinking. We think it's normal to think and do and be like everybody else here when it's not. See, it's normal for everybody else because they were born here on this planet. They were born into this world. So it's normal for them to follow a circle of life, a cycle of life, a cycle of thinking, when we're supposed to be following a line of mental procession, a line of thought, a line of higher thought, not moving in a circle. This is what causes our people to be disturbed. When you see a lot of our people break down in society and lose their minds, and they end up in the streets. They call them mentally disturbed. They end up in mental institutions and things like that. It's because they couldn't cope with the system that's placed here in this society. They couldn't cope with it. They're not native to this system. They can't handle themselves in this system, right? So what do they do in this society? They either set them free on the streets to roam aimlessly until they become homeless or vagabonds in the street, or they put them in another system or an institution, right? The reason for putting them in institutions and other systems, be it jail, be it a mental hospital, is to try and straighten their minds out, right? To get their minds right. right? To get their minds functioning in a system again. That's the purpose for them doing that. They had this thing in New York where they were locking up homeless people and people who were mentally disturbed. They didn't want to give them so-called psychiatric treatment. They'd rather lock them up, right? Because it's cheaper that way. And it's a way of getting them used to following a system again. However, the system is what made them mentally unstable, insane. It is what disturbed them, right? All of these systems here disturb our people mentally. And we're going to go into those systems that cause the mental disturbance in our people. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz, and this is State of Mental Radio. And tonight, what real mental disturbance is, what does it really mean to be mentally disturbed? As I said, if you are not following an order of thinking, an order that is moving in a line of progression. In other words, your thoughts are not supposed to be out of order. Your thoughts are supposed to follow a mental progression. In other words, you're supposed to be doing things on a higher level every day of your life, every month of your life, every year. There's supposed to be an evolution in your life. There's supposed to be a change for the better. You're not supposed to be doing the same things day in, day out for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. A lot of our people, they do that, and they die doing these same things in a rotation. And there is no mental evolution for them. So when I come on the broadcast and I'm talking about mental evolution, the evolution of the mind and the evolution of intelligence and how we're supposed to be growing mentally, and the purpose for us being here is to grow and evolve mentally. A lot of our people, they look at me and it draws a blank to them, right? They draw a blank. They think it's normal to follow religions that have them going in circles day in, day out, doing the same rituals over and over again. That's a form of mental disturbance. You're disturbed mentally if you have to do things in a rotation over and over again, and you're not looking for something to break the monotony, something new to come in. You're trained to accept a rotative way of thinking. You're trained to accept a revolutionary way of thinking, meaning to think in a circle and do the same rituals over and over again. In order for someone to get you to accept that, that's a form of mental disturbance. They disturb your natural way of thinking, which was not to think in a ritualistic way of rotation. It was supposed to get you, your natural way of thinking, us as black people, so-called black people, is to think in an evolutionary way of progression, movement, straight line, linear thinking. That's natural for us. You notice in this society they downplay linear thinking. They downplay new thoughts and new ideas and the opening of your mind of new ideas by saying stupid things like there's nothing new under the sun, there's no thoughts to the new here and this, that, and the third, but they never talk about what's coming from beyond it. They downplay linear thought here because they don't want you to think outside of the circle. They want to keep you mentally disturbed because in keeping you in that disturbance mode, in that mental disturbance mode, keeps you from rising mentally. A lot of our people, I said, our people should be coming to the state of mental in flocks. They should be coming to the state of mental in flocks because this is the only movement that is opening a new door and a new chapter for our people that is about mental progression. Everything else is still the same circular nonsense. Everything else is still based on that or festering or fostering that mental disturbance that threw us off our path in the first place. Right? All these things are linked to mankind. All of these philosophies, all these doctrines, these ways of living, these systems, these submental systems that are put in place were meant to keep us from moving forward. They were meant to keep us off the path, off of our progressive path to a mental evolution. We're supposed to be way ahead, way further ahead than we are now as a people. But obviously, like I said, we accepted a certain way of thinking, a submental way of thinking. We went under the mental radar of God, Amen. We went under the mental radar. We severed our connection just so we can fit in with mankind. We severed our connection from the true and living God, Amen, just so we can fit in to the society of mankind, and we still don't fit. We still not accepted, and we still chase this. Right? That's a mental disturbance. That's a sign of a people who are mentally disturbed. A people who, instead of looking at themselves in their uniqueness, instead of looking at the differences in themselves and being proud of that difference, they were told to hate it. Now, if the situation was reversed and white people had our features and we had their features, and they were the outcasts and they became the so-called black people and vice versa, they would take that image of ourselves, they would take the image and they would make it the best thing on the planet. And our image would pale in comparison to theirs. They would make the afro, the dark skin, all that. They would make all of our features that a lot of us hate, they would make it the best, the greatest thing on the planet. They would make it the standard of beauty. They would make it the norm. Our people don't want to do that. Our people still want to be accepted. They still want to, shy away from the natural things and the differences that made us unique people. All right? This is what keeps our people in a disturbance mode. That people can alter your thinking, that people can alter your thoughts, can alter your thought patterns, and just totally throw them off. Because to disturb something means to bother it, right? Something has to be bothered to be disturbed, right? If your mental procession or how you receive thoughts to move forward is disturbed or bothered, then that means that something's throwing off what you're supposed to naturally be doing. And like I said before, the white man, he knows that the rotation of this planet and how he based this system in a rotation is what can drive a person crazy. That can induce a mental disturbance in a person, how he set up this rotative system of you getting up in the morning, going to work, paying bills, coming home, going to sleep, you're getting up, going to work at the same time, coming home, going to sleep, paying bills. You don't have anything else beyond that. Black people have nothing else beyond it except for some sex, maybe a club here and there, but beyond that, black people have nothing. Your elite, rich white people, like I said, they make sure they do something different in their routine. They might be in New York one day, and next minute they'll be in Paris the next. They travel around. They're always doing something different. They're always trying to break routine and ritual. You understand? They're always trying to break out of the circle. This whole thing about them going to different planets within the solar system, this whole thing about space travel is just merely a way of breaking out of the rotation, out of the circular or the ritualistic things they've been doing. So they're always looking to introduce something new into their cycle of life. Now, it's space travel. Like I said, if it's not hunting lions, it's not mountain climbing, whatever. I'm not snowboarding, skiing. I'm not saying all people need to take that up and do all that, but what I'm saying is I'm showing you as an example that these people make sure they're always trying to do something to break that limited circle, because they don't want to be like you, because they understand that if they are exposed to more things, this opens their minds up and it starts in, or at least a limited form of evolution in their way of thinking. They'll go and live amongst Africans, primitive Africans in the jungles and stuff like that. They'll do stuff like that. Like I said, black people's world is getting up, going to work, coming home, getting up, sleeping all day, getting a welfare check or whatever the case is, and like I said, just laying around making babies. That's what that has become our life, if you want to call it a life. This is the thing that these are the things that we this is how we live in our lives. Even the so-called black people with money, even they are limited in their way of thinking. You understand? Even they limited in their way of thinking. You look at black people with money, they still do pretty much the same things as everybody else. You understand? They still doing the same things as everybody else. They're not doing anything beyond what black people with no money are doing. They might go to a few places, but they pretty much, like I said, you look at black people with money. All they do is they do the same things, just as black people with no money, but just more turned up. So instead of one pair of sneakers, they got 50 pair of sneakers. Instead of one car, they got 50 cars or 20 cars or whatever. Instead of a small house, they got a big house. They just amplify their way of thinking. They turn it up toward nothing. So it's more mass, more material, more nonsense. Nothing different. You understand? That's why the white man, he'll make fun of these Negroes with money, because he knows that they are mentally disturbed. He'll laugh at you for having 50 cars or buying a $10 million house that you have to have upkeep on, that you can't afford, that you're pretty much a working millionaire, and that you, after a while, instead of making your money work for you, you're still working for your money. Even after you done made $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, you're still working for your money. Your money you have not found a way to make your money work for you. These are people that are mentally disturbed. He finds a way to make his money work for him. Black people, all they do, they're spending money, they just spending more money into society, because they think in a rotation. Because, like I said, it's a system to get you to all you thinking about doing is getting up to live and pay bills. You live to pay bills in this society. You know, that's your life. That's pretty much everybody's life here who's under the $1 million mark. But black people especially, you live to get up, pay bills, and go to bed. Just happy to have a roof over your head. You understand? This is what you live for. You think this is life. Like I said, I made the statement on Facebook. I said, our people swear they doing something other than just paying bills in the society. Our people are doing nothing here. You know, our people are doing absolutely nothing here. Our people are doing nothing but wasting time, because they're mentally disturbed. They don't know which way to go. They don't know what the next step is. They don't know what the next direction is. So much so that they're following the same old ways and the same old movements. They're not looking for a new way to move forward. They're not looking for that. They're looking for the same old ways. They're ready to keep hitting their head on the ceiling over and over and over again. That's a mental disturbance. Like I said, for black people to still be talking about religion, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, anything, metaphysics, masonry, moral science, any of this stuff, 5%, all this stuff our people are talking about, are just talking about nothing. For our people to keep going in this rotation talking about nothing, that's people that's mentally disturbed. Hell, at least the damn white man, he dealing with Dianetics. And now some of you simple-minded Negroes, y'all running into Dianetics. You know? Y'all looking to the white man now, who messed up your way of thinking, to diagnose you and trying to make your thinking right. The man who caused the mental disturbance in you through slavery and things like that, you looking for him to correct it? Yeah, through Dianetics. You looking for long, drawn out textbook questions and answers. I get that a lot, when I'm just being direct in my approach to dealing with the problems of our people mentally. They look for a textbook white man's answer to everything. What book can I read that in, brother? Where can I see that at? Where does the white man say? They won't say that because they're too ashamed to say that. But really, it's where the white man say that at? Because it always comes back to him with our people, and I don't mean for it to come back to him with our people, but that's how the minds of our people work, because they're mentally disturbed. They don't think that the answer to our problems can come from one of our own. They think the answer can come from people who presented the problem in the first place. You understand? The people that presented and made a problem in your world, the ones who induced this mental disturbance, cannot solve it for you. It's not in their mind to do that, because by keeping you mentally disturbed, by keeping you off of that path of mental progression, you understand? It keeps them in power, keeping you from drawing that mental energy to move you forward. You understand? Keeping you from drawing that future intelligence to move you forward keeps them in power. Makes them necessary, makes them the only ones that uphold order here. I don't hear, like I said, for all the black men who sit up here and talk about taking over society and, and revolution, I never hear you black men talk about, taking, structuring a new order or building a new government or things like that. I never hear you black men talk about going nowhere for all you revolutionary guys. Never hear you guys talk about that. I never hear about you guys talking about building up a new society, a government. A lot of you guys been around for 40, 50 years and whatnot in the Moorish science or the black revolutionaries. I never hear you guys talk about that. Or going to another country and setting up and, basically taking over the government, taking over the society, or, going to an underdeveloped country and doing that. I never hear you guys talk about that. Because that would appear to be, or that would make one hell of a statement if our people did that. If people actually went out there and did that. If our people actually took the initiative to go to another land, if you feel dissatisfied here, if you don't like what's going on here, and set up another government. Be ready to bleed for it. Be ready to die for it. Be ready to live for it. Our people not ready to do that. They want handouts in this society. That's a form of mental disturbance right there. You understand? Because basically every black person here is relying on handouts. You understand? The majority of our people are relying on handouts here. Whether you got a job, whether you want some sort of public assistance or whatever, if you're not doing anything for yourself, business-wise, to move yourself out of that dependency state, that's a form of disturbance. Mental disturbance, because we by nature are people who are always supposed to be in a stage of evolution, elevation. Black people are always supposed to be like that. We're always supposed to be looking for the next level. We're not supposed to keep going. We're not supposed to keep go in the same circles and the same cycles and the same ways of thinking. That's why the white man did that thing. Whenever he talks about how a person being crazy, he always takes his index finger and moves it in a circle to say what as when he's saying somebody's crazy, because he knows to think in a circular state or in a revolutionary state or a rotative state is insane. He knows it's crazy, especially when it comes to our people, because it's not our natural way of thinking. It's not how we're supposed to be doing things. We're supposed to be far ahead. Like I said, for our people to still be looking back at the Egyptians is insane. We're supposed to be far ahead of these people. We're supposed to be doing space travel. We're supposed to be dealing with levitation, lifting, and building cars. Like I said, we can't find anything progressive amongst our people today. And it's getting worse. Our people are becoming more and more mentally disturbed every day. What's inducing that again? The drugs, your weed, your crack, your cocaine, your heroin. These are the things that are mentally disturbing a people. You understand? Now, people can blame the white man or whoever for putting it in your community. Yeah, you can blame him for that. But nobody made you use it. Nobody made you, nobody held you down and stuck a crack pipe in your mouth or put a heroin needle in your arm. You chose to do that. Don't blame nobody for what you choose to do. Being irresponsible, not wanting to take responsibility for your actions, that's a form of mental disturbance. Because what do they say when you have somebody who's indigent, somebody who's not mentally stable? They expect people are expected to step in and be wards of these people, take care of them. So what's the difference between a crazy person, right, or a person who is mentally disturbed, who is in a crazy hospital in a system where you got people taking care of you, versus the black man and black woman today in America who are in a society and a system where you relying on the white man to basically take care of you. You relying on him to make your laws. You relying on him to keep order over you. You relying on him. There's really no difference. Because if you're not up doing it yourself, if you're not up to doing it yourself, if you're not up to governing yourself, if you're not up to being the masters of your own lives and over your own destinies, then that's a form of mental disturbance. because you have to run into the order and under the structure or the system of these people. Because if we're not trying to do for ourselves, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad came and he talked about doing for self, that was the first form of breaking our mental disturbance, to get us to do things for ourselves, to be responsible people, to be clean people, to be upstanding people. That was the first form of breaking that mental disturbance in our people. You understand? Breaking that mental dependency, because our people have been dependent on the system and the structure, the society, and everything that came with it. You know, our people have been dependent on that. But that was a crack, and when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad came and he was teaching, that was a crack in that foundation, in that hard foundation, and it's still being worked on. This is a mental problem with our people. I always say our people's problem is not social, it's not monetary, it's not corporate, it's none of that. It's mental. If we stuck to that, we wouldn't have the problem. But a lot of our people don't want to see that. You understand? They want to keep trying to attack the same old problems and trying to get help for the same problems when all they truly looking for is a handout. You know, just a check under the table. That's all they truly looking for. They're not looking for ways to solve our problem in the society. They're not. They want things to basically work out through the system. You know, they want people to be responsible for them. The crazy person or the mentally disturbed person who is in the insane asylum, or the one who's walking the streets, the one who has to rely on medication, they give him all this, him or her, all this medication to keep their nerves calm, to keep their mind together, because, you know, they say they're suffering from things like paranoid schizophrenia and all kinds of other mental illnesses, right? Which is really these people who are who have a deficiency, platelets in the blood, a deficiency of iron. Because when you have a deficiency of iron in the blood like that, that's really heavy, your thoughts are off. Because, as I explained before, the platelets in your blood work as metallic receivers. The platelets in your blood are like metal or iron, the iron in your blood, and that iron works as a receiver. You understand? All blood in beings on this planet are based off of receiving. You understand? It pulls things. Your very blood pulls things. It pulls messages. Because you have platelets and you have iron in it. Whether it's plant iron, whether it's iron from from the rock or whatever the case is, you have that source of iron in you for a reason, to pull things to you. This is why when you run today, and I did this today, I ran. When you run, the blood rushes to your brain, right? Blood that's rich in iron rushes to your brain to receive messages from that central control station, and it sends out new ideas and thoughts to the brain. Your mind pulls it in, and it sends thoughts to the brain. But that blood has to be raised up to the brain in order to work as a magnet to pull it in. That iron in the blood. So if that iron is low, if there's a deficiency, then your thoughts are going to be out of order. You're not going to be pulling in higher thoughts. One of the things Dr. Sebi said is that people, you know, our people's biggest problem is lack of iron. You understand? You know, our people's biggest problem is lack of iron. It also extends, now he talked about that as a health issue, but it also extends into our mental perception, or our mental progression and our perception. It extends into that. Because as I explained, if the blood in your system is not moving, it doesn't have enough iron in it, and it's not moving back and forth to your brain, you know, that's why I say we need to do some sort of exercises, running, things like that. That's the best way to receive higher intelligence and new mental pictures. That's the best way to pull it in. when your blood and the platelets are rushing to your head to pull in these new messages. This is what can break the mental disturbance. What can break the mental disturbance is the rejection of all the things that we fell into, the beliefs, the philosophies, the things we fell into under this society. That can ultimately break the mental perception or the mental disturbance. That can ultimately break it. Our people's problem can all be solved once they abandon the things that they held on to in the society, their beliefs and their philosophies. That can help our people. You understand? That can help our people. Because we're not pulling in new ideas. You tell me, like I said, for all these people who claim they got the answer, or they say they don't even have no answer, they just here living out their life. Tell me what it is new that you're presenting, because something new is always supposed to be on the horizon for our people to take in and move forward on. If our people are not taking it in and moving forward, then what are we here for? It's meant for the human race to move in a circle. It's meant for them to do the same things over and over again in a rotation, because they were created in a world that is based on rotation. But it is not natural for our people to do things in a rotation. It is not natural. It is not natural for our people to follow routine. That is a form of mental disturbance. How do we break that? You know, a lot of our people don't want to break that. You're not going to find anything new in Islam. You're not going to find anything new in Christianity. Ask yourself this question: will I find anything new in Islam? Will I find anything new in Christianity? Will I find anything new in Israelitism or Judaism? Will I find anything new in Buddhism? Will I find anything new in metaphysics? Will I find anything new in Pan-Africanism? Or will I find anything new in Masonry? If the answer is no, then you're supposed to drop these things. You're supposed to discontinue the association, the following with these things, because they work against your mental procession. They work against your mental progression. And these are the things that are causing your mental disturbance. Because if you allowing these things to take up space in your mind, if you allowing these philosophies, these religious beliefs, and these doctrines to take up space in your mind, then that means you're blocking new thoughts from coming in. If you're allowing preconceived notions and ideas to block up and fill up your mind, then you are stopping new ideas from coming in. You understand that? You're stopping it. You're blocking it. You're putting up a mental defense, which is a form of disturbance. When you sitting up here saying, oh, I don't want to hear nothing if it's not Islam, if it's not Allah, if it's not 5% Nation, if it's not Israelites, if it's not Christianity, if it's not whatever, if it's not any of these things, I don't want to hear it. Just by you saying something like that, that shows that you're mentally disturbed. Because you know, or I would hope you know, that the world is much bigger than your belief systems. That is much bigger than the white man's philosophy or the Arab philosophy. The world is much bigger than that. The world is much bigger than your ways of thinking, your limited ways of thinking that you accepted. And for you to think otherwise is a form of mental disturbance. For you to think that you know it all, or that you have everything encompassed in that little small school of thought that in the span of time and history from where it started is very small, for you to think that that's it, there's no future beyond that, that's a people that's mentally disturbed. And this is what our people suffer from. Our people can't imagine a time like, for example, our people can't imagine a time in the society where there would be no more America or no more system. Our people can't think like that. See, but the white man can. He can think of a time where there'd be no more America. He show you in his movies all the time. He'll show you in movies like the Old Planet of the Apes and things like that, where he shows you images of the damn Statue of Liberty knocked down, blown up. Why do you think he does that? And he did it in the book of Eli, where he show you in the future world that there is no more America. He shows you that. He shows you that this government comes down in his pictures. Why? Because he, as a person who is not mentally disturbed, knows that all societies come and all societies eventually fall. And this is his society. He already knows it's coming. That's why he makes these movies about it. But don't tell a black man and black woman, y'all, if America fell down, you niggas would lose your minds. Y'all would lose your minds. Even you so-called black revolutionaries and you Israelites and all you guys who claim you hate America, y'all would lose your minds. No more welfare office. No more job to go to. No more. You got merchants and stuff like that. You know, you guys would be running the streets, robbing and stealing and raping and things like that. Then the true you would come out. The truly mentally disturbed you would come out. Everything would come out of order. You understand? Everything would fall into chaos. That's when you're going to see the real mentally disturbed people come out. All the so-called people who claim they was righteous, that they wouldn't do that, that they didn't, that's not how they are. You'll start seeing them robbing, stealing, raping, whatever, pillaging. All the things they call the white man a savage for, you'll see a lot of our people doing. That shows that, like I said, knowing that shows you that our people are mentally disturbed. They're off. Your boyfriend, your girlfriend, 9 times out of 10, they're mentally disturbed. Your mother, your father, they'll say something, they'll do something. They'll be against the evolution of our people only because it's something that they don't like. That's a form of mental disturbance. If these people are not willing to move forward, they're not willing to move forward collectively, that's a form of mental disturbance. They don't want to move forward. They don't want to. They don't think that there's anything beyond the sun. That there's new thought. That there's new intelligence beyond the sun. That there's something that's going to come in to raise our people from these old ways of thinking. And that's a form of, like I said, that's insanity. That's a disturbed people. The white man, he stays looking for new things, new life forms out of space and things like that to alter this life that he done become tired of himself. He stays looking for that. That's what we used to do. We was the first astronomers. We stayed trying to find stars and planets and other planets and whatnot, and having communication and connection with other life forms. I remember when black people said, well, why don't the extraterrestrials come to us, the ETs and stuff come to us? Hell, they did come to us. Hell, we are them. You understand? They did come to us in the form of the almond beings, looking like us, building our society. There was a time where the ETs and all that did come to us when we weren't mentally disturbed. That's another thing. We don't see or we're not making this connection with this supreme extraterrestrial self or that higher self who we are, that God race. We're not making that connection fully because we are mentally disturbed. A lot of people listen to broadcasts. They'll be like, yeah, brother, yeah, brother, yeah, brother. Then you go back to doing exactly what you was doing. You'll sit up here, like this Negro sits up here, the guy who did this thing on me with this, included me in this thing, and that's the thing I had a problem with. So I'm gonna discuss that later. Where the guy did the YouTube thing on me and Bobby Hemmett and this debate thing. Like I said, that for you not to see that what you did was wrong or not see a problem in what you did, that says something about you, that you're mentally disturbed. You understand that you can't see a problem in what you did. You think what you did was right. You think you was helping me. You understand? It's going to come a time where our people are going to be forced to stand on their own. That time is coming right now. And in that time, and in that place of it becoming, that is us, or we're going to be given the ability to leave out of that state of mental disturbance. We're going to have a chance to leave out off of that, disconnect ourselves from that dependence. Because of our people, we have made the white man. We have made him the one who caused our mental disturbance. We have made him our gods. We have made him our God. Simply because we don't think for ourselves, and nor do we connect with God. Because if you accept God or some God through his religions, then that means you're allowing him to think for you. And that is off mentally. That is off. Y'all supposed to be receiving books that, come to y'all, not to some prophets and some Arabs and some people who don't look like us. Y'all supposed to be receiving books coming to y'all. Not some hand-me-down of somebody's teaching. You understand? Meant to create a mental disturbance in you. This is what they do. They keep this mental disturbance going into people. This is how your society stands. You have to have a sub-mental group of people. The majority of your people in a government or a society have to be on a sub-mental level in order for you to stand over them and control them. You understand? Drug companies stay making plenty of mind-altering drugs. Things that will cause you to be high. Things that will cause you to be in a state of dementia. Things that will cause you to hallucinate. They stay creating drugs like that for a reason. You understand? To induce a mental disturbance in your mind. All that is done purposely. Your woman, or your mate or whoever you with, your man, the woman you with, they unknowingly cause mental disturbances in your mind. When a man promises you, lady, something, and he breaks his promises to you, because you're used to receiving or thinking in a linear state, you're looking for your thoughts to go in an order. Like he might tell you he's going to marry you, or he'll tell you he's going to be with you, and you're looking at plans and wedding and things like that, and things being planned, children and all that. You thinking in that line of procession. Next thing you know, he's telling you something else. That causes you a mental disturbance because he broke your chain of thought. He broke your train of thought, your order. And if you let someone break your order or your train of thought, then that produces a mental disturbance in you. Your thoughts were bothered. They were interrupted. Your evolution, your mental evolution is interrupted. That image you had of wife and children and a life and a future and things like that, they're trying to get us to throw that out of the window with our people now. They're trying to get us to throw that out the window. Notice that in the so-called black community, right? Notice where young people don't think about getting married and family no more. It's just people laying up, screwing, and having babies all over the place, baby mamas and things like that. That's more common than seeing wives and husbands, single-parent homes. That was induced in us, and that created a mental disturbance because, like I said, we don't even look to link with each other anymore. That's all insanity. That's all a mental disturbance. That was something that we adopted from the beast because they used to do things like that, leave their children. That's an animal trait. You know that. Do you know that? We got that from the beast. Leaving our children behind, you black men walking out on your wife and your children and whatnot, go out for a goddamn pack of cigarettes, never come back. Like how you guys used to do, like you guys used to do back in the 30s and 40s. A lot of you black men, when y'all start coming to these cities, you can't take care of your family, so you'll leave your family, go out for a pack of cigarettes, never come back. Or you did that down south and let your family fend for themselves, leave the babies and everything, and leave that all on the woman. Right? Only animals do that. Your male animals do that. Right? And the beast, he did that. He did that a lot. And we adopted that from him. There used to be a time where that was unthinkable to our people. You understand? But like I said, once you adopt the ways of a foreign people, that's a form of mental disturbance. Once they got you to put up a picture of a god or a Messiah that looks nothing like you and got you to worship that was a form, that damn sure was a form of mental disturbance. You know I'm talking about white Jesus. You understand? That was definitely a form of mental disturbance. You know, they wouldn't have did that. They wouldn't have put up no black man and did that with you. But y'all had no problem. Some of y'all still wearing that image. And you notice the people who are doing that, they're the most mentally disturbed. Look at them. Your rappers, your gangbangers, they all still got that image on. That tells you something. that image produces is always that image always attracts the most negative people. You understand? There's a reason for that. It attracts them on that submental master-slave dynamic. And like I said, to a lot of you black men, y'all still slaves to the beast. Whether you accepting his philosophies, his religion, his metaphysics, you calling yourself metaphysician, like I said, that's a form of mental disturbance because you've come into that form where it's a master-slave dynamic when it's actually supposed to be the other way around, because you are the God race. You understand? And when somebody really said, you don't really take it seriously, it sounds good, but y'all don't really take that seriously. You don't see how y'all really are descendants of an advanced race of highly intelligent beings called Amen. Y'all don't see that. The intellectual could say it all he wants to, but y'all don't really accept it. A lot of our people don't accept that. You know how I know y'all don't really accept it? Because if y'all really did accept it, y'all would be trying to come together and harness that mental power to strengthen or bring that energy down here on the planet stronger as a collective. You would abandon your religion. You would abandon your philosophy. You would abandon your doctrines. But y'all not ready to do that. How can you sit here and listen to this knowledge, listen to this intelligence, right, and still be a Muslim after that, or still be a Christian after that, or still be an Israelite? You're mentally disturbed. There's something wrong with you. Knowing that our people were enslaved into this. All of these religions we came into as slaves. And at the end of the day, when I talk about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and them, you know, he diagnosed the problem with our people as being a mental one, which he was the best one to do, but at the end of the day, they were still under Islam. And it came back to bite them because when he passed away, a lot of his people ran up under the Arabs. You understand? Because they were mentally disturbed. They heard all this. After they heard all this, the black man is God. Yeah, brother, the black man is God. You know, blah, blah, blah. They still put up the picture of Master Fard Muhammad, and they ran. And right after that, they ran back under that. A lot of them broke up the nation and ran under the Arabs and grew beards. They couldn't. They took down the picture of the true and living God, Elijah Muhammad. You understand? They ran up under a bunch of Arabs because, according to them, they were teaching real Islam. That is the mind of a person that is the mindset of people who are mentally disturbed. We had a lot of mentally disturbed people, obviously, in the nation, because if you went, after you hearing 40 years of that, of a man teaching about your supremacy as a supreme people, as a God race, as a man being a God, and for y'all to run under these people, there's something wrong with you. You understand? For you to listen to this and still embrace Islam, as if it came from some supreme source, or they embrace Christianity or Judaism or some Israelitism, as if it came from some supreme source, there's something wrong with you. You're mentally disturbed. Because you done took the man, you done divorced the man who gave you that. You divorced the man who gave you that and his ideas. You divorced the whole idea of a man giving you that. You don't want to deal with that part of it. You would rather believe that this fell out of the sky and that some God or some supreme being brought this for you to follow, when that's a lie. All lies. People who accept lies are people who are mentally disturbed. People who are off. People who are off key. So the question is, can we focus ourselves to receive higher intelligence, new intelligence? Can we focus ourselves to push past these mental disturbances? Can we push ourselves past these mental roadblocks? That's the question we should be asking. We offer that in the state of mental, through the knowledge of, through the intelligence, I should say, of mental life, the advanced intelligence of mental life, pushing past these old ways of thinking. You understand? Because the only one that can actually solve our problem mentally is us. It has to be one that's coming from amongst us who looks like us. It can't be nobody from the outside. It has to be somebody from the inside, somebody who's keyed in. It can't be nobody coming with some idea of Dianetics. It can't be another religion. It can't be another black nationalist thing or Pan-African thing. We did that to death. We did it already. And for our people to sit here and constantly and just ignore the fact that, yeah, we've been there, we've done that, and it hasn't worked. For our people to still sit here and still chase that dream, there's something wrong with you. You're mentally disturbed. If you're not looking for a way out of that goddamn prison, it's something wrong with you. If you're not looking for a way out of that Pan-African prison, out of that Islamic prison, out of that Israelite prison, that Christian prison, or wherever, that prison in your mind, then there's something wrong with you. You're mentally disturbed. You should be looking for a way out by now. You should have figured out, damn, this is just going in circles. Nothing's changed in my life. I'm still in the projects. I'm still struggling. I still ain't got nothing. My people ain't coming together. It's still too much confusion and too much division. And I'm lending to that problem by being a Muslim, by being a Christian, by being an Israelite, by thinking that these things are going to help our people when they have not. You understand? But our people still want to hold on. Our people still want to hold on because it was a form of brainwashing. You understand? Or should I say brain pollution? You understand? It was a form of brain pollution that caused that mental disturbance in our people. A people who are supposed to be elevating every day, doing something new every day. People who are supposed to be pioneering new intelligence and pioneering new inventions and technology and things like that on Earth. But our people are not thinking like that. They trying to all they doing is the same thing they've been doing 30, 40, 50 years ago. Still trying to get in the record industry, still trying to be the best singer, the best dancer, the best rapper, the best entertainer. They still doing it. They still chasing that. You understand? They still chasing it. Our people still want to be entertainers. Nobody wants to be doctors and scientists and astronomers and whatnot, be the next people to open up. Nobody's pushing that as being the cool thing. You understand? Our people still, all you brothers out here still chasing that whole rap industry thing where you gonna spit this heat and you want to get your music heard. You niggas are mentally disturbed. You guys are mentally disturbed. You guys are in your 30s and 40s, and you're looking in the music industry that's crumbling. And if you ain't looking like Lil Wayne or Soulja Boy or some image of some homosexual, they're not letting you in. But you still trying to push your music. You still trying to sell your music on Facebook. When that mind, like I said, could be utilized for something greater. You refuse to do that because you're mentally disturbed. You're mentally disturbed. All the things our people could be doing. That's right. Engineers, scientists, physicists, biologists, geologists. Yeah, exactly. All the things our people could be doing to move ourselves forward. But we want to pursue music because that's the easy way out. That takes no real thinking. That takes no real using of your mind or your brain. We take the easy way out. That's why, on Facebook, if I hear of another person, please don't send me no more, you guys out here who keep inboxing me your music. I don't want to hear your music. I don't want to hear that stuff you call music. I'm not interested in your rap, your reggae. I don't want to hear it. You understand? Tell me that you're going to become a geologist or a biologist. That's what turned me on, a scientist, an engineer. I want to hear that. An agricultural engineer, grow food for our people, feed our people, a doctor, obstetrician. That's what I want to hear you sisters talking about being, you brothers talking about being. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear nobody talking about they want to be a goddamn rapper no more. You understand? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear nobody talking about they want to be dancers and they want to be strippers and they want to be NBA basketball players, because all that's coming to an end anyway. You understand? People who were once known for using their brain, using their intelligence, people who are now mentally disturbed look to do the smallest, minimal things in society just to get by, just to get a check, just to get their hustle on, just to get paid. You understand that? Nothing where you're actually utilizing your mind. And you women and men should be, even if y'all so messed up where y'all not doing it, you could be gearing your children toward that. Even if in this generation y'all not going to do it, you got little 4 and 5-year-old babies and whatnot. You could be gearing them toward that. Why don't you guys who talking all this black revolutionary nonsense, why are you not trying to build science labs for the babies? Build science labs for them. You understand? That's how you do something. That's how you evolve a people. Build schools for your children. Start with that. Stop with this getting in the damn white man's face and talking about some rights and some sovereignty and some nonsense. Can you build some schools for your kids? Because more than anything, we value education and intelligence, real education, not some pseudo education where you go into school to be some what is that, psychologist, and we don't need no more psychologists, somebody telling us what's wrong. Like I said, they're not doing nothing but repeating something the white man said. We need real scientists, we need real engineers, people that are using their minds. You understand? Because that's what we really come from. We were the first ones doing that. So like I said, the fact that our people are not doing it this day and time, are not going forward toward that, that shows that that's a sign of people who are mentally disturbed. You got all these minds, these brothers out here who got minds that could memorize 16 bars and things like that. That could be done to memorize mathematical equations and scientific equations and things like that. You know, that mind could be used for that. Building and agricultural formulas, whatever the case may be. All these things could be utilized for that. You know. That's what we talk about. Exactly. We build nothing. You know why our people build nothing? Because you want a handout from the white man. You think he owe you something. That's why. That's a form, like I said, that's a form of people who are mentally disturbed. Like I said, mentally disturbed people are always looking to be taken care of. Sing songs, play games, get high, have lots and lots of sex. Yeah. We escapists, exactly. I agree, totally, 100%. 100%. Follow religion up there too, because we don't need nobody's religion no more. We don't need no more Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. That's the big problem right there. Because, like I said, when you start sitting up here and our people is, we got to get rid of the whole problem. We can't cut a part of the damn cancer out. We got to cut all of the cancer out. You understand? The biggest thing that produced that infantile mentality in our people is the belief in religion. You understand? We don't need no religion. That's the thing, because we set up here and relied on somebody that's going to come out of the sky and take care of us when we're supposed to be taking care of ourselves. We're supposed to be the ones solving the problem. We're supposed to be the gods on earth solving the problem. See, that's how the white man thinks. That's why he gets things done. Our people waiting on the white man to take care of their problem. Because, and like I said, in the minds of our people, he's their God. That's really what the truth is. The white man is their God. Not no Allah, not no Jesus Christ, not no Jehovah. The white man is their God. Them Negroes in Christianity, the white man is their God. They are escapists. Right? They want to escape reality. What's the biggest thing they use to escape reality? Religion. Somebody going to come and give you something. All of their escapism is based on handouts. You understand? And like I said, people who look for handouts, people who are mentally disturbed, expect people to take care of them. That's why you see these guys, like I said, in the city, on the train, they'll walk around and they get a crazy check. Sister told me to use that term, a crazy check, and they'll go out here and they'll go begging on the train expecting somebody to give them something. You see a lot of these guys, they losing their mind. They beg on the train, expect you to give them something. When you don't give them, they be ready to curse you out and hurt you. You understand? That's the mentality of a lot of black people. Even you young black kids who out here that's selling your mixtapes, your hip-hop mixtapes that don't nobody want to hear, right? Well, you ever see these kids? You understand? You ever see these kids? They sell they mix a hip-hop mixtapes, and when you don't want to buy them, they ready to rob you or fight you or something like that, like you supposed to buy their tapes. That's a mentally disturbed person. That's what we producing. You understand? Because you don't want to hear their BS music. You want to start to see them win through things like science and agriculture and engineering. They don't understand why you don't want to listen to them talk about shooting somebody or selling drugs or hustling. They don't understand why you don't want to hear that, or why they don't, or how much jewelry they got, or how many hoes they got. They don't understand why you don't want to hear that garbage. You understand? They be ready to fight you and whatnot because you don't want to buy their mixtape. Like I said, that comes from that. Like you said, infantile mentality, that childlike mentality. You understand? It comes from that infantile, childlike mentality. If you can't get what you want on some submental thing, on some submental level, then you ready to fight. You ready to act like a child. You ready to act like a baby, but you don't want to use your mind to evolve and move forward. This is what we need to be doing as a so-called new people, moving into the new millennium. That's why I keep saying we need an intelligence movement. We don't need no more religious movements. We need an intelligence movement where we are fostering the intelligence of our children, where they are dealing with reality, where we're not raising no escapists. You understand? We don't need no more Islam. We don't need no more Allah. We don't need no more Yahweh Shai, no Israelite. We don't need no more Jesus. We don't need no more people trying to be escape artists. We don't need to listen to nobody talking about no Qurans and no damn Bibles, because those are your big escapist books. Those were the first things that was put in our way to read to get us to become escape artists, because we started escaping reality through those stories, and that produced a childlike mentality in our people. You understand? That's why we're going through right now. Religion was the start of all that. And then allowing these people to step in and be our saviors by letting them create systems for us to follow, systems that moved in a rotation, where they could constantly come and give a handout instead of us creating our own systems. We don't need no more religious organizations. We need an intelligence movement. You understand? And we are providing that within the state of Mentel, the ᴅᴏᴇs.info. We're trying to build an intelligence movement in the state of Mentel, because this is the future of our people. This is the future of where we're supposed to be going. You understand that? This is where we're supposed to be going. We're not even the whole atheist thing. Like I said, the true God, the true supreme being, is the evolving you. The true supreme being is the evolving you. We're supposed to be growing into gods on earth, constantly growing, as we're using opening up more nerve centers in our minds and our brains, and receiving higher intelligence and advancing ourselves. We are supposed to be growing into gods on earth, real, living, supreme beings on earth, advanced people, advanced thinkers. That's what we're supposed to be growing into. Not some people that's sitting around in some submental state under submission to some invisible force. You understand? We're supposed to be in mission with that force. We're supposed to be in mission, not in submission to anything. The white man is in mission with God. Like I said all the time, we are under submission of him and that force that he yields against us. That's the problem. And our people don't want to let it go, because, like I said, our people are mentally disturbed. They think something's going to happen if they let go of their religion. Because once we collapse these barriers that stand between us, this Islam, this Christianity, this Judaism, this metaphysics, this moral science, all these things from the last millennium that done nothing for us in the last millennium, yet y'all want to carry this into the new millennium? Are you serious? Y'all want to carry this into the new millennium because y'all don't want to move on. You understand? We need to be producing an intelligence community. People who are receiving or harnessing the power of higher thought, advanced thinking, because their thoughts are coursing and moving through this atmosphere for us to receive if we raise up our intelligence to receive them. If we open up our mind to receive them, they're there. These things didn't just, the white man didn't just think up these things, this technology that he's utilizing. He didn't just think these things up. He just opened his mind to receive them. They're always moving through the atmosphere. You understand? That God race, That race of advanced beings who are connected to us are constantly sending higher intelligence and higher thought through the atmosphere, through this universe, through this solar system to us. But we are rejecting it because we are mentally disturbed. This is real. This is real. We'll be right back. When you vibrate on that submental frequency, when you allow yourself to be caught up in the low vibrations of this society, that's a form of insanity, and it's a form of mental disturbance. A lot of our people want to move on a higher level, but y'all get caught up in these things here in this society. You get caught up in sex. You get caught up in physical wants and desires. You get caught up in all this nonsense. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having sex or, things like that, enjoying the comforts of things, but everything is done out of order with y'all. Everything is done to an extreme with you. There's no control there. Everything is just out of order. These things begin to govern you. This submental state begins to govern you to where you cut off your mental connection, or you start thinking backwards. We get people, like I said, our people today, the worst thing we should ever be doing right now is looking back. We shouldn't be looking back at ancient Egypt. We shouldn't be looking back at Africa. We shouldn't be looking back at the past. We should be looking into the future. We already know what happened in the past. What happened in the past came about because people kept looking back in the past. You had people who was looking in the 60s, they kept looking at their present and their past. They looking at what they were going through. Nobody was focused on the future. That's why we're in the predicament we in. And coming from a people who are futuristic people who are constantly building for the future, constantly making plans, because that's where the white man gets that from. When he plans in the future, he got that from the Egyptians and the Nubians who were building sculptures, and they were leaving pictures on the walls for future generations of people to see. So obviously these people were thinking futuristically, like they wanted to tell their story or their account of their life based on the pictures and the construction they left. They wanted to tell their story on the architecture, things that they brought out. Future people, we're supposed to be doing the same thing. I hear everybody diagnosing the problem, but nobody's coming up with a solution. Nobody wants to deal with a real solution to our problem, or they want to use the white man's books and his way of describing our problem to deal with that. That's still that mental disturbance. That's still that form of mental disturbance. Or our people want to take drugs, because that's what a lot of times our people look for. Our people look for drugs, or they look for something to ease their depression. Whatever forms of mental illness or disturbance, they look for some sort of drugs, because in this society they medicate the hell out of you. In other words, they like to numb you up and make you high. You understand? So maybe they figure you won't be such a problem. You'll drift back into that realm of the circle, that realm of insanity. You'll drift back in lightly. You understand? And a lot of our people go for that. Like I said, a lot of our people have a mental deficiency, an iron deficiency, a mental deficiency. Like I said, when they talk about bipolarism and things like that, and they give you all of this, they give you that bipolar medication, what is it called? Lithium. They give you that lithium, right? They say for the mentally disturbed, the people who are bipolar. All that is really people who have. They're not rich with iron in their blood, and they're not good receivers or people who put thoughts in order well. Their thoughts are jumbled. It comes in, the reception of their thoughts comes in jumbled up, just like a person who would have some form of dyslexia, where they see, when they read things, they see things jumbled up. That's the same way these people's thoughts come in. These people who have a bipolarism of their thoughts are jumbled up. They get things backwards. They get things confused. Their perception is off. That happens a lot in this society. You understand? Our mental disturbance takes on a lot of different faces from our people in this society. Like I said, you see the black woman, she mentally disturbed all day. You know? She doesn't really, like I said, not all black women, but the majority of your black women are mentally disturbed. And your black men. I'm not making this no man against woman thing. Men too. You see it all day. That's what the problem is. So much so that they already self-medicate, where they smoking weed all day and they taking in chemicals. They become chemically dependent. They self-medicate. They're dependent on the chemicals, right, to try to get what they say? Yo, I got to smoke this weed to get my mind right. Now they say that? They say they got to smoke the weed to get their mind right. So they by them saying that, they're acknowledging that their thoughts are off, that they're mentally disturbed, things are out of order. Because you're only gonna get right what's wrong. You only trying to get right what's wrong. You know? Because a lot of things are blowing their mind, a lot of things are overwhelming to them, and they can't deal with it mentally. They can't place things in an order to deal with it. So they need to smoke something to put them in a state of what's the word I want to use? A state of sleep, or a state of rest mentally. They want to slow down their thoughts. They want to be in a slowly induced state of I'm missing the word right now. But they want their thoughts slowed down. You know, the thoughts are coming at them too fast. Sometimes thoughts are coming at you too fast. And a lot of our people, especially a lot of our younger generation, because they are young, thoughts come at them fast, and they don't know how to rearrange them. They don't know how to put them in order. So to counteract that, they want to slow down the procession of thoughts that are coming to them, because they're pulling thoughts like a magnet, and thoughts are coming to them. They don't know how to place them in order, so what do? They're smoking weed. They're getting high, right? They're doing all these things to produce a euphoric state. That's what I'm going to say, a euphoric state, where his thoughts are just coming in slower. The same thing with our people who was doing heroin. You understand? They were shooting up heroin. They were shooting up heroin to slow themselves down, because they wanted to be in that sleep-like state. People who wanted to escape reality. These are all forms of mental disturbance. You know? They didn't understand how to deal with the fast procession of these thoughts, because we're supposed to be receiving thoughts faster. You understand? That's why a lot of these young guys end up trying to be rappers, and they rap so fast because they receiving their thoughts faster, and they spitting them out. Then they go and smoke some weed or something to slow down. You know, when you say some bipolar people, when they tell me that they have ranges where they're one way to the extreme with their behavior, then they're totally another way to the extreme with their behavior. You know, because things are out of order with them. Like, for example, they might end up overreacting to something, arguing, getting in a fight. They might start getting over emotional, start crying for no reason. They might do things like that because everything's out of order. Their whole everything and how they're supposed to be synced up, and their feelings toward things is out of order. You understand? You know, everything is out of order. These people, like I said, the majority of our people, and Dr. Sebi was right about that, the majority of our people lack an iron-based diet to produce platelets in our bloodstream to pull in messages. All that is being done purposely. All that's being done purposely. The chemicals in our foods, you know, throwing off the mentality of the people, throwing off the way you receiving your thoughts. Because how the reception of your thoughts is the problem. Thoughts, there's never anything wrong with your mind, right? There's always something. The only thing that could ever be wrong is with your brain, not your mind, because your mind is nothing but a field or magnetic energy field around your brain. That's what your mind is. Your mind is a magnetic energy field around your brain. It's not your brain. Your mind and your brain are two different things. And your mind field is what pulls in thoughts. You understand? Your mind field is what pulls in thoughts. You know? But if your brain nerve centers are not open to receive it, if your brain cells are being burned out, being shut down when you're smoking chemicals and things like that, and smoking that chemical weed or drugs and things like that, you're shutting down your senses. You understand? They're shutting down your senses. But like I said, a lot of our people, our people got nothing, nobody to blame for that but themselves, because we didn't produce anything for our children so that they wouldn't have to be born into this. I'm tired of talking about the problem. I'm tired of talking about the problem. We should have been producing our own food for our children to eat so we wouldn't have to worry about this. You know, we can come up with 100 different reasons why our people are mentally disturbed through the chemicals, through the food and whatnot, but it's basically through laziness, dependency. That's the first thing that has to be attacked. Laziness and dependency. People who refuse to stand up. Like our people can sit up here. I don't care if the conscious people sit up here and diagnose the problem. Oh, brother, it's the white man, it's the Soylent Green, it's this and that. And I understand, yeah, that's fine, but what are you doing to combat that? What are y'all going to do tomorrow? You know the problem today, so what do you do tomorrow to combat it? I don't want to hear anybody talking about, oh, this is what's doing it to us and this doing that, but y'all not doing nothing to stop this. You're not doing anything to not have to consume these foods. You're not doing anything. Just a bunch of people diagnosing problems which borders on conspiracy. And that's fine. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, but what is the answer? You can go to 1,000 books all day. You understand? We can go to 1,000 books and hear people, talk about the problem. What are we going to do for the solution? That's what I'm in it for. I want to hear the solution. I want to hear the solution. I wasn't trying to get at you, brother, when I was talking about the Soylent Green or the things you were saying. I wasn't getting at you about that. I know about the information on it. I'm just more or less interested in the solution. Now I'm getting a bit preachy. Now and disingenuous. Wow, brother. This. See, there's that right there. That right there is the problem. Preachy. Well, what am I supposed to do? Are we supposed to sit here like you and okay? What am I supposed to do? Sit here like you and talk about all the conspiracy stuff for Soylent Green and whatnot? I'm not interested in hearing about Soylent Green. I know about all that. What's the solution, brother? That's what I'm talking about. Oh, I'm gonna go now because you're getting a bit preachy and disingenuous. What are we supposed to do? I'm into answers, brother. I'm not into people keep saying I heard Soylent Green and all that before. You're not saying nothing new. That's what I want to hear, the answer. If nobody's going to provide the answer, don't come in here giving that you could give up 1,000 problems to it. Minute you start calling out people about the answer, oh, well, it's getting preachy and I don't like it, because you can't come in here and make this your little conspiracy room. We don't want to hear that. You understand? See, that what you're doing right there, brother, what you're doing right there, that's a form of mental disturbance. You understand? That's being disturbed mentally. No, that's not no constructive criticism, because what you did was totally off. I'm trying to explain something. I told you all I wanted was solution. I don't want to hear about nobody dictating that. Not throwing a tantrum, brother. I'm not angry at all. I'm talking about if you got something to say, call up and say something about it. Yeah, games. There you go. Call up and say something about it. Call up and say something about it. If you have something to say, there's this brother, I'm letting y'all know this. This is brother in the chat room, right? First he comes in and he's saying, he's giving a lot of reasons on what we need to be doing and whatnot, and I'm agreeing with him. Then when he starts talking about all the reasons why our people are messed up and the problems with the soil and green and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. Now what's the solution to our people? Are our people going to get together and do something new? Are our people going to get together so we ain't got to depend on this? Oh, now it's getting preachy. You know, now it's getting preachy. When I talk about a solution, now it's preachy. You know. See? You know. That you know what? That's the conscious Negroes. You know, they want to use every forum to make it a conspiracy thing, and they want to talk about the white man because it always goes back in a circle again. It's always the white man, but these niggas never got a solution to nothing. Everything we keep hearing, like I said, we can hear conspiracy all up and down. I do have a solution. Well, what's your solution? That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear your solution, ᴅᴏᴇs, and you're a Muslim. Come, ᴅᴏᴇs, and call up and tell me what your solution is. I want to hear that. I'm not beefing with you. I'm not arguing with you. I want to hear a solution. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear no. I know about soil and green. I know about all the. Just get call up. I'm gonna give you the number right now. Okay, no, I'm not presuming anything. I believe you got a solution. So I'm gonna take your call. We got 30 minutes, but I'm gonna take the 510 number.
Damn,
hello?
I wish you let. Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey.
Yeah,
how you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. Damn, I wish he'd call in before you took my call.
Yeah, well, ᴅᴏᴇs, that's the brother's name. Call in.
Yeah.
No,
Call
you
in.
say, since you saying I'm being presumptuous, I got an answer to the problem. I got an answer.
Call in so we can hear your answer, brother.
Yeah.
Call in.
Well, your name is ᴅᴏᴇs. You know what I mean? And that's an Islamic name. So ᴅᴏᴇs, if you're not Muslim, I guess you was born with that name. I don't care what your religious affiliation is. If you got a solution, call in, because that's all I wanted to hear. I want to hear a solution. You talking about I'm getting preachy and all this. Like I said, you know, I'm not getting preachy. I'm interested in the solution. I got a solution to the problems of my people. I just don't want people to use this forum to come in here and bring in their conspiracy stuff they read from the white man out of his books.
Yeah, man.
Because he'll write 1,000 things in the books, he ain't going to tell you what it really is, because if he's obviously letting you read those books, obviously it's something else. He's never going to tell you the whole truth.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so ᴅᴏᴇs, since I'm being silly, call in. You call in and you tell me what your solution is, since I'm not assuming anything. You know, you call in. I'm waiting on you right now. The brother, the number is, I'm going to put the number up. I want you to call in because we all want to hear it. I'm not about chopping nobody now. I listen to everybody. The number is 914-338-0504. I want to hear solutions. I don't want to hear nobody's problem. We about solving the problem. Here, I'm going to put it up here in the chat room for you because I want to hear your solution. I'm being fair. You know, so just so you say, because I'll give the solution to the problems of our people all the time. Whenever I do this broadcast, do I not always give a solution?
Always.
I talk about the separation of our people, within the black race, the intelligent from the ignorant, so we can start building. You understand? So we can start doing stuff for ourselves, because this is not going to happen. No, I'm not interested in your archives. Don't come here to promote your show. I asked you to call in.
Oh, man, please.
There you go. There you go. There you go. I have a show on BTR, Blog Talk Radio, called ᴅᴏᴇs. Check my archives. So, okay, you came in here to promote your show. That's what you came here to do.
Here we go again.
No, we don't want to hear no international, African-American anything. Call in and give us your solution. Since you saying that I'm being preachy, and this is the problem with black people, whenever we ask for a solution and things like that, I'm open to listen to anybody. All of a sudden, now it's turning. When I was riding with him on the conspiracy stuff, and you know, and I was agreeing with him about what our people need, then I said, okay, brother, what's your solution? Oh, now it's preachy. Yeah, now it's wasted time. Bye, ᴅᴏᴇs. Bye. You a waste of time. Goodbye. You playing, like I said, you got to go, ᴅᴏᴇs. Like I said, you know.
Newman.
Yes.
Oh, I'm there? I'm out there?
Yeah, you here.
Oh, okay. Hey, you notice on almost every show, somebody exposes themselves. You notice that?
Yeah. Well, that's what you're gonna get. I had to kick him out the room because, like I said, he in here, you know, like I said, it's just poison now because you coming in here and you're not coming with any solution. I mean, I want to hear solution. I don't want to hear nobody. I done heard listen. I'm 41 years old. I done heard the conscious movement and all them niggas in the conscious movement with all that nonsense about Soylent Green. I heard the proms, Carter G. Wilson. I heard all this stuff, but nobody's talking about the solution. I want to hear a future solution right now. If you can't produce that, that's all good. Then just be quiet. Don't start talking about I'm preachy and you're trying to insult me. Because, like I said, because nobody want to hear your conspiracy that you got out the white man's book.
Yeah, that shit is old, man. That shit is old. You know what I'm saying?
Or something about Carter G. Wilson. Yeah.
If that's where he is with it, and go on be with that shit, man. This right here is not about that. You know? It's about future. This is about evolution. It's about movement.
Exactly. Exactly.
We don't got time for that, but every show, one of them rears their ugly head and exposes themselves, and that's a beautiful thing because you don't have no place here. At this time, you're not ready for this.
No, you're not. You come in here to promote your show, and you're gonna say the same thing these conscious niggas been saying over and over again about the white man, Soylent Green, conspiracy, 666, KKK, Carter G. Wilson. You ain't saying nothing that they ain't been saying over and over and over again for the last 30 to 40 years. I don't want to hear it. We in 2012. If y'all ain't trying to move forward, if you're not trying to do anything, you just coming up here to try to promote your radio show, then have a nice day, man. This is about the future intelligence of our people. Hold on, I'm going to take this call. This might be 916. Maybe it's this guy, Salahuddin. Okay, yeah, I'm going to take this call. Hold on. Yeah. Hello? 916.
Peace.
916. Peace.
Hey, check this out. I got a question. How you feel about inventions and stuff? As in, us inventing things not just for us, but just the supply of our main industry. Let's just say about the hair, hair industry. What do you say about that?
The hair industry?
And having an invention. I'm talking about inventions. You see, you're talking about how can we move forward as a community. You see what I'm saying? Not going into technology, basically, but having an invention for us and, having
why not go into technology?
A place to produce it and everything like that, So how you feel about that? What do you say?
It depends on what it is. You said something for the hair?
Well, I'm just saying as an example, something, that's invented that's, dealing with hair, because we, as a people, we pretty much run that industry right there. And having something that's, we can produce, manufacture, run things like that.
We don't run nothing. We don't run nothing as far as the hair care products industry, brother. We don't run that. Yeah,
no.
It's already been done. It's already been done.
Yeah.
We need to move to a higher level than hair care products, brother.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. I'm a barber, man, for 25 years. So hear me when I say I'm already knowing who's running it. See, and this is why I'm saying this, as in us, because we're the main ones doing the hair. Okay, maybe they got products and whatnot. I'm saying us producing a product, us even inventing something new, inventing a new clipper, inventing a new, irons for the ladies or what they do. I'm just saying a whole line of things for what we can, is not getting into the industrial type of thing. You see what I'm saying? But having as a community. Okay.
Well, if you're gonna, I don't have anything against anybody producing anything that's gonna, bring in some sort of, technology, whether it's cutting the hair or whatever the case may be. It's something that produces. Nothing wrong with that. But when it's always industrial. Whenever you make something that's for sale, it's industrial. So I mean, I don't have anything against that. I'm just,
But what? As in, just not to cut in, but as in just how, just an idea, just pop in, got a couple of electrodes, just popping as in, ideas going around. So it's like, how would it be possible? Now, I'm not going back. I ain't bringing nobody up and, and making an example. But Marcus Garvey, how he had a shipping, docking somewhat. Well, he was trying to start, had a ship and everything, but, never got out, to the water or whatnot. But he had an industry for us. You see what I'm saying? That wasn't an industry because his ships never went nowhere. So how was it an industry? Right. Well, they were built, though. I'm saying as in they were built. It gave people at the time jobs and whatnot. For example, let's kick that out. Let's stick with what I was saying originally, okay? Just for right now, okay, and making it conscious, making, organic, everything, growing our own and everything, okay? Now, like I said, would you think that is possible?
It's possible if you got people. It's possible if you got people on the same page mentally, but trying to do that amongst the black race, that's not going to happen. Trying to do that amongst the black race is not going to happen.
Okay,
right?
Okay. Let me shoot this at you then. Okay, now just how the European guys, their things and their thinking at us, and are their products, and hypnotize us with it to buy and everything. How about us doing that? Not trying to get at them and trying to wake them up. Woo woo, how we do, but just doing it in a product and stuff. Put the right colors or put the right name on it. Put the right, area it's supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying.
You feel what I'm saying?
Let me just.
Is it out of bounds?
Okay, well let me just answer that because I gotta go because we're getting close to the end of the show. But let me just answer you right now. This is not possible. We're not looking to do anything within the black race. Forget the black race. The black race don't want to do a damn thing. We're not interested in doing nothing with the black race but selling them stuff. That's what we're talking about in the state of mentality. The hell with the black race. We're just trying to sell them stuff. All right? Okay, and as far as trying, because most of these niggas want to make stuff just so they can get money for themselves so they can give it right back to the white man for a lot of stupid nonsense. So we're not going to play that game with black industrial this and black industrial that. We're not doing no more black industrial anything because it's a bunch of BS. And like I said, we tired of hearing the same old thing about black people getting paid and making money. That's not the problem with our people. Our people's problem is a mental one. And all of that, you can produce anything you want. Let me just say this. You can produce anything you want. You know what I'm saying? People can produce anything they want. But if your minds of the people are messed up, none of this is going to matter. Money's not going to matter. Talking about soil ain't green. Talking about some goddamn 666. None of that's going to matter. That's why I don't want to hear that no more.
Right. Well, it's just what I'm really talking about is an intent. The person that's inventing it, the person that's so-called procreating. Just hear me out. And what the intent. My intent will be just by putting it out. Now, I'm already know about the money. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to awaken more and to have the state of mental, and to have the subconscious in the whole so-called community, the heads of it, the God heads. I call it the heads of life for infinity, and it's just like
brother,
you said, it's not just
I'm getting low on time. I'm going to cut you off, brother, but I'm getting low on time. Let me just say this to you.
Okay, well, that's cool.
You go ahead and invent that. You invent that, and when you invent it, like I said, you come on the broadcast and we'll talk about it. You get something going, we'll come on the broadcast and talk about it. If that's something you want to do and supporting what we're trying to do, and and waking up people, that's fine. You're going to use that within your invention. That's all fine. Okay.
Yeah, it's not just clever. It's just it's innovative.
No, brother, I
just
understand.
want to fix it out. Yeah. Okay, cool. You're looking out.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Hey,
all right.
All right, cool.
All right.
Salim not calling, right?
Huh? Oh no, I ain't seen Salim. He's not calling
let me say this real quick. Big ups to the podcast. Oh my God, you did that. And as I hope more brothers got it too, because it was not only for the sisters. If you really listen clearly to what was being said, it's for us too. Big ups to the podcast. A beautiful work. Excellent, brother. Excellent.
Thank you. The brother's talking about the great mental depression of the modern day black woman. Go out and download that on the Facebook. The great mental depression of the modern day black woman. Like I said, it's not just about the black woman. It's also jewels in there for the black man too. Only $5 for the upload and whatnot. More people should go and listen to that, because in that lies the problem with the real problem with the black woman. Something that the white man and this whole society is not going to diagnose, that y'all looking for him to give you the answers in a big 250-page book or some 2-hour-long synopsis on depression, which is really just a bunch of nonsense for him to overcharge you and sell you stuff. So,
yeah,
you know, right. we getting straight to the point. You know, we ain't no time to play games with nobody no more. That's another thing when we dealing with these Negroes too. We ain't no time to play games. That's why I said I'm cutting them off real quick. I don't want to hear nobody talking about 666, the Illuminati. If y'all not doing anything about it, I don't want to hear nobody talking about Soylent Green no more. I don't want to hear nobody talking about the white man no more. I don't want to hear it no more. If y'all not trying to come up with a solution, we heard all that to death in the last millennium. So y'all coming in 50, 60 years into this and y'all still acting like y'all minds is blown off of that. My mind been beyond that over 20 years ago. Y'all not talking about no solution. I don't want to hear it. You talking about I'm preachy. Then if you feel I'm preachy, like I said, when I was agreeing with him, I wasn't preachy. The minute I start talking about the stuff, then all of a sudden I'm preachy. That's a nigga for you, though.
Yeah. You know, he ain't got.
I'm gonna call it just like it is. That's a nigga for you. You know, because he can't get his way, because he can't come in here and make this his own little conscious black forum. You know what I mean? Then he want to get mad and oh, this is preachy. No, we need somebody to point us in the right direction. We need direction. We don't need nobody telling us the problems. We know what the problem is. So,
for everyone listening, quickly, what the brother said, what Nubin said when he says separation. See, that should be our focal point right now. We have to be willing to separate from the black race, because the black race is pretty much done. We have to be willing to separate. That's very important. That is the beginning of this movement, the separation and the and becoming a collective. That's the beginning. If you're not willing to do that, then you have no place here. Sorry, this is not my show, but to me, you have no place here. It's time to separate.
Exactly.
The great minds have to come together in order for this situation to be changed and for us to evolve as a people.
Exactly. All right, brother. Let me wrap this up, because we getting toward the end. Good hearing from you, brother. Thank you for the plug.
Peace, Snoop.
Peace. Okay, brother Reginald from Oakland. All right, so we about to wrap this up. We got a little, since I was being so preachy tonight and people couldn't hear the wisdom in my words, people say things like that, or whatever. Like I said, this ain't a forum for people to say the same thing. I talked about that mental disturbance of people constantly feeling the need to repeat things over and over again. We don't need nobody repeating the same things over to us over in circles again. So here we go. The questions. What is a mental disturbance? A mental disturbance is anything that is stopping you or preventing you from having a natural procession of thought. The natural procession of thought for the black man and black woman is a linear way of thinking. This is what we're dealing with. We don't want to hear anybody. When you Negroes come in here talking this Carter G. Wilson stuff, and you come in here with Soylent Green that we heard of, you're actually causing a mental disturbance, because here we're trying to move forward beyond that. We know about that already. We're trying to move forward. We don't need you Negroes coming in here like a looped over record saying the same thing over and over again. Give us some new insight. Give us some new direction. If you can't bring new direction in the evolution of our people, then you're causing a mental disturbance. You're interrupting the natural procession of thought. That's what we want. We want a forward linear way of thinking. The mental disturbance amongst our people was that it was interrupted and tossed into a circular or a rotative way of thinking. That's why we're doing everything in rotation again, and which is why a lot of our young black men are going back into the slavery, back into bondage through the prison system. You understand? Because we had these people keep throwing us in a rotation, even our own, and they were mentally disturbed. Anybody disrupting your way of thinking is mentally disturbed. Interrupting, bothering it. Who are the most mentally disturbed people on the planet? Black people. So-called black people are the most mentally disturbed people on the planet simply because black people are not in their right state of mind. We are not thinking on a linear procession, which is what we're supposed to be doing. We're thinking in a circular procession. We're thinking in circles. That's why we keep getting niggas in here talking about Carter G. Wilson and ᴍᴏᴇs. We done heard this over and over and over again. If you got to keep saying something over and over and over again, obviously that's a form of retardation or mental disturbance because you don't know, you can't access intelligence to move the hell on. You can't access some intelligence. We're trying to access a higher level of intelligence to get us out of this thing. We don't need nobody to keep saying the same thing over and over again. If you got nothing new to add, then like I said, that's a form of mental disturbance. You got to get your mind right. Get your mind right for real by letting a lot of these things go, letting these things go in your head, these things, these rotative ways and these ritualistic ways of thinking. You have to let them go so that you can open your mind to receive new intelligence. But a lot of you are not going to do that. You understand? A lot of you are not willing to do that because you based your mind in that frame of thinking, and you're not trying to go beyond that. So we need to separate from you. Who induces mental disturbance in this society? The beast, of course. He induces mental disturbance in this society. To keep our people disturbed mentally is how he stays in power. To keep our people off track, to keep our black women sewing damn blonde wigs, weaves, and East Indian and white woman hair in their head, and black men walking around with tight-ass pants on and tattoos and everything. That's the people who are mentally disturbed. Black men walking around with tight-ass pants and tattoos all over themselves like a bunch of white boys. You understand? Wearing damn trucker hats. You know, that's to keep our people mentally disturbed, doing things that are not part of their mental procession. You understand? These are the things that keep our people mentally disturbed. All right? Next question. Can mental disturbance really be cured? Sure it can. The only way to really cure mental disturbance amongst our people is by emptying out the old ways of thinking. That's the only way to cure a mental disturbance in our people, by emptying out your preconceived notions. You understand? By developing more of an iron-based plant diet, you know, to make yourself live receivers. Because by inducing iron in your blood, like Dr. Sebi says, inducing that, bringing that iron in your blood not only strengthens your immune system, but it also opens up your mind to receive higher intelligence, future intelligence that's constantly streaming through this atmosphere. Because what those blood platelets do, or that metallic element in your blood does, is it acts as a magnet to pull in frequency. You understand? This is real. This is not something made up. Thoughts move on a frequency. They move on a power and on a current. So just as you get radio waves, just as you get television waves, you get thought waves. You get mental waves. You get mental current. That's how your thoughts are sent. They don't just pop into your head. They are placed there. They are sent there. No thought just pops into your head. It's sent there. The same way the picture in your screen or your TV don't just pop up there. It is sent there by television waves, by a radio wave. You understand? Without that wave without that wave, if that wave isn't moving through the air to for you to get reception, then you're not going to get any pictures on that television. Same way you will not receive any intelligence in your mind if that current or that mental procession or that mental current is not moving through and you're not receiving it. That's what they mean when they say that our people are, when you die and that mental current or that mental current or that mental force field around your brain disappears or goes out, then you're declared mentally dead. You understand? You're declared mentally dead. Your brain dead. Your brain can do nothing after that. It has to have that mental force field around it, that mental current. And that blood, when you exercise or run and do something like what I did today, that's when I noticed my thoughts are sharper today, is because I was running. I did my jog and things like that. The blood is rushing to my brain, and I've been eating a higher iron diet. My thoughts are clearer now. They're faster. You understand? So this is real. That blood is rushing to my brain, and it's opening up nerve centers. And more thoughts are coming to me. So develop a higher iron diet, you people out there who want to increase your mental perception or your mental procession. Start eating things like callaloo. Callaloo, which is West Indian green, or what they call West Indian collard greens. Start eating things like callaloo, things that are rich in iron, like Dr. Sebi was saying, because it not only cleanses out the blood and and helps in building the immune system, it also helps in pulling in mental frequency, because it actually produces the blood platelets, or the iron in your blood to pull in frequency. You understand? It produces that magnetic force around your brain to pull in frequency. So this is real. Okay? What's the last? Will mental disturbance be a thing of the past amongst the bright race? Yes, it will. Yes, it will, because as we are diagnosing that, as we are allowing ourselves to separate from the black race, the very people who seem like they're comfortable with this mental disturbance, the very people who seem like they're okay with the mental disturbance, the ones who not trying to let go of the old things of the past, who want to still keep following religion, still want to be in Islam, still want to be in Christianity, still want to be in Judaism, still want to be walking around with tattoos all over themselves. The black woman still want to perm her hair and put blonde wigs and weaves all through her hair. That's people who are mentally disturbed. We can't move with people like that. We can't exist as a bright race amongst people like that, so there has to be a separation. Those people have a mental virus. Same way your computer has a virus, these people have a mental virus. These people are mentally disturbed, and they have become comfortable in this disturbance, so much so that they don't even know that they're disturbed. They think it's normal to walk around like that. The black man think it's normal for him to walk around all tattooed up and with the tight-ass pants on. The black woman think it's normal to walk around with blonde weaves all in her head, race mixing and being homosexuals and lesbians. That has become the submental way of the black race. You understand? That has become their way mentally. They are disturbed. And there's nothing you could do about that but separate, because a lot of our people are not trying to listen. All we can do is find our people amongst the black race and keep it moving. That's the only solution to the problem of our people. I said, Salahuddin, if you're still listening, I would give a solution to our people. I'm not going to sit up here and keep talking about the conspiracy stuff. I don't want to hear it. Solution is separation. Separation of the ignorant from the intelligent. The intelligent are the bright race. The ignorant are the black race. You understand? We have a lot of intelligence amongst the black race, a lot of bright people amongst the black race, but they have to come out into this new collective known as the state of mental, a future or an intelligence movement, a real intelligence movement, not some goddamn Facebook group. So you people sitting up on Facebook talking, oh, I'm a member of the state of mental. No, you're not a member of the state of mental, because you have to be registered to be a member of the state of mental, and that only takes place in New York after you do your test. There's no registering on Facebook. And that guy who made that damn video, like I said, don't support his video. Anton Lawrence, don't support his video, because I did not give my permission for him to put my image or anything on it. I don't care whether he's saying he bigged me up or not. I don't care what you're saying. I didn't give you my permission to do that. And you're sitting around here selling information that I gave away as intelligence for free, out of the goodness of my heart, because I wanted my people to receive. So no, I don't want you to prosper. October 28th, I'm calming down. October 28th, I'm feeling good. State Supermen, Superwomen Project, Brooklyn, New York, October 28th. 1368 Fulton Street, the Bed-Stuy Restoration Plaza. Okay, we're going to be putting it down hard. Wednesday, I don't know what the broadcast is going to be. We play it by ear this time around. All right? So we're going to close out. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkares. This has been State of Mental Radio. Good night. We're going to play a little Earth, Wind, and Fire to take us out of here. Shining Star.